Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Behavior Bites podcast. My name is Brad Hoffman.
I'm MacKenzie Charling.
And I am Mike Fight.
On today's episode, we're going to be talking about a lot of the pre-work that we do setting up our classrooms, and that is expectations and routines. And Mike, you're going to kind of take point on this. But first, this is in honor of our producer, Callie, who has very strong opinions on this topic. I would like to know your opinion and why the answer to this question. Is Taylor Swift a genius? Mike?
That ain't fair, because I was going to just be like, no to all your questions. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually kind of a fan of her music. She writes all of her own songs. She's a marketing genius. She's like, her image has been subtle changes to stay current. Yeah,
Right.
she's absolutely.
Sorry, Callie.
So, yeah.
You guys can't see this, but Callie has steam coming out of her ears. Her headphones are melting off of the side of her head right now.
So she's a genius, and I'm actually a little bit of a fan of her music. A little bit. Like, I'm not a
Huge.
Swiftie.
Huge.
Yeah.
No, I'm not huge.
Huge.
I'm a little.
I love her.
So,
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, let's
So,
move over to
yeah,
MacKenzie.
right.
You have strong
I
opinions
just
on
think she's absolutely a genius. If you've been to her show to watch, it's a production. It's wonderful. And
I did not have $700.
I know
no.
that no, not the Eras Tour. Back in the day, Sparks Fly. But you two were out of the room, and Mike and I had a conversation about how we actually really do like her, and we like Shake It Off or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But you guys were gone, so I don't know
Okay.
if you guys knew that Mike liked Taylor Swift.
No,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't want
Okay.
that to be too public, but I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I should, like, you know.
Are you a closet Taylor Swift fan?
No, I'm not ashamed, but I'm also not necessarily in the demographic she's targeting, so, you know, it would be a little cautious.
Yeah,
He
well-
used her music in his classroom every once in a while.
Oh, yeah, I did, for sure,
Yeah.
because it's just good.
Isn't that like the sweetest thing ever? Ever and ever.
As she grows and ages and matures, she'll be closer to your demographic. Like, what if she gets married to Travis Kelce and then starts singing songs about middle-aged men?
Well,
What if she is getting married?
Yeah.
Travis
Well, yeah.
Kelce.
Okay. Fair.
yeah, it's
All right.
happening. All right, so this is something, it's timely, because we are in the first or second week of school in a lot of the districts that we work in, and this came off of a conversation that MacKenzie and I had just a little bit ago, so I thought it'd be fun to try and put some of this on a recording and see where we're at. The importance of expectations, routines, and I would even say procedures that you have in your class. The thing is, if we're not crystal clear with the things that we want to have in our class, we simply cannot expect our kids to follow them. They will not pick up on those clues. I'm thinking, when we're talking in elementary school, some of these kids are still kind of learning how to do school in the first place. And then I'm thinking secondary, they're going to go to 8 different teachers throughout the day. And I certainly, this is a little bit of a hot take. So there should be some school-wide expectations, especially in common areas. And there should just be some basic things. If we have a no cell phone policy in school, it's a no cell phone policy in school. However, our different classrooms, I want my students to be exposed to a lot of different teaching styles, exposed to a lot of different personalities, because I think that makes them better prepared for society. So that means Brad's classroom may have a few different expectations than MacKenzie's does, and I think that's okay, as long as you're both crystal clear on what those expectations are. So it's I always say this when it comes to routines and expectations. If you're not really sure how to do this well, go talk to your shop teachers, go talk to your music teachers, and go talk to your kindergarten teachers, because that is the bread and butter of those folks.
Yeah.
So you can think in those terms. Yeah.
So, and not to get too caught up on everything being perfectly crystal clear, the first couple of weeks of school, even the first month, you might realize that there are things that you didn't teach, that you didn't know you needed to teach.
Yep.
You didn't know that you needed to teach them when the right time to sharpen their pencil was. Last year's teacher could have been different. So my biggest thing is self-reflection when it comes to, not beating yourself up about kids doing something or, they're out of their seat, is take the time to self-reflect and what is your desired behavior? And
Right.
take that and teach it.
Right. Yeah. Everything that we do in the work that we do boils down to the relationships that we have with those around us. Everything that we do, right? Having a person-centered approach. So I love that you talked about like getting to know what your specific group of kids needs. It might be, gang, that last year I had a group of kids that weren't always naturally up and out of their seats and moving around. That I said, hey, everybody, we're going to stay in our seats. And they just stayed in their seats. But this year, all of a sudden, I've got a group of kids that are constantly up and moving all the time. So it's okay. This should not be a one-size-fits-all approach.
No, I agree. with
Last
that,
year,
yeah,
I
for
didn't
sure.
need the stated explicit expectation of ask permission before you're out of your seat. This year, I might need that. I might need a procedure, a routine in place of like, if you need to get out of your seat, this is what it needs to look like. I didn't need it then, but I do need it now. So use those first couple of weeks of school to get to know your kids, understand their needs, understand their strengths, and then build your routines and expectations from there. Is that kind of what you're getting at, Mike?
It is, and I'm going to share another example. It's very similar to the one that you shared. Several years ago, I was working with a teacher, a 6th grade teacher, and I got to hang out in her class a little bit, and it was pretty fun. And after she said, these kids just talk to each other all the time, and this was one of those kind of like bizarre responses she wasn't expecting. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's amazing. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, do you have any idea what some of the teachers I work with would give to have their students be willing to talk to each other and can get along? That's a gift. Okay, so what are we going to do about that? How are we going to use that? So what she did is set up a lot of collaborative learning routines that she had to teach explicitly on when and how we're going to, communicate with each other. They've already got that strength built into that class. Let's shape it, but we got to be explicit, and we've got to, put a routine around that.
Yo, dude, you just said the word I was going for, which is shape the kid's behavior, right? Like, here's what I know. Brad Hoffman will never shut up. He's going to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And if he's in the same class with Mike Fight, they're going to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, probably about Taylor Swift, right?
Totally.
I
This
know
is why
that
we're not allowed to sit next to each other during professional development sessions. by
that's
the way.
fair,
So,
yeah. And so if I already know that I've got a chatty group, these kids are going to talk no matter what. So let's build in expectations, procedures, and routines that's going to shape them. I know they're going to do it, but I want them to do it on my terms and in a way that's going to be productive for the classroom community. And I'm pretty sure that's what you're getting at there, right?
It is.
Yeah.
All right. I think that kind of oh, sorry. Did you want to add something else, Mike?
Yeah. So
Yeah, we got
one
all
other
day. Go ahead,
bit
buddy.
when we have on this one, like one of the things that I think about. So this is the advanced version of this. So we get rolling with the year, and we look at like a certain part of the day just isn't going particularly well. Maybe that's transitioning from reading to math. Okay. Now, first question you got to ask yourself is that transition routine locked down in place? And be very honest with yourself, because that's the easy thing to do. We're just going to reteach it. So when we're done with math, you go put your materials away. You can go grab a drink of water during that time, and then you go back. So you get out your reading book and start on the your little pre-test or whatever you're going to do for that day. So you want to just first think through those parts of the day that aren't going well. First think through, are my routines established? And if not, that's the easiest thing in the world to go back through and be very specific and clear with it.
Yo, I want to jump onto this bandwagon. I want to talk about this party time, people. How many times, MacKenzie, have you seen classrooms in the work that we do now or other jobs that you've had where you walk in, it's kind of chaotic, and you ask the teacher, well, do you have your expectations? And they point to this like poster on the wall, like, yeah, that's right there. And it's like an 8x11 sheet, and it's got like 14 different rules on it. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And they're like, I got the rules.
Yep. Yeah.
But do the kids know them? Like, what you talk to me about that a little bit?
Yeah. So actually going off transitions, that's a huge, transition should be quick. We're learning time or losing learning time there. Take the time, especially in the first couple of weeks, all the way up and sporadically to practice precisely those transitions. And I would do it. It seemed a little intense, but even I can tell you 1st graders can do it.
100%.
You model it out, you practice, you do it till it's perfect. You set the high expectation, and you have to hold them accountable to it, even 2 months down the road.
Absolutely.
And if there's more than one, it might just be a conversation with the one. But if it's not that same student every time, we're going to take the time. We're going to slow down. We're going to practice that.
Yeah, and that accountability is huge, and I think probably a whole episode
It's
all by
hard.
itself.
Yeah, I think we should.
Before we even get to that, like I'm talking about, like make sure the kids know what the expectations are, and that doesn't mean that on August 20th I teach them, and then they're on the wall, and I taught them on August 20th,
Practice.
right? You got to do it again and again and again, and especially if you've got 14 or 20 or whatever. And I've seen some of them have like 25 different rules on their board or whatever. Here's the thing. Mike, MacKenzie, we're all teachers, right? How well do you have your handbook memorized? Those are your expectations. You got those memorized, guys?
Where would I find that?
Exactly.
I'm
Right.
not real sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's, that email where it's like, make sure you read it and you say, yes, I did.
Yes, I did.
You're right. If we're not teaching the expectations and then practicing the expectations, look, I always say this to my kids all the time. You can get mad, but you don't get to act surprised that your kids don't know the rules if you didn't take the time to explicitly teach them and remind them and practice them all the time.
One last thing on the importance of this subject is that any of our kids that are prone to having a bit of anxiety, and a lot of times the defiant behavior is a symptom of anxiety, is that being in a place where there's very clear expectations and you know exactly what's going to be happening there is actually a comforting thing. Kids, like myself with some ADHD, which have a hard time like focusing on things, if it's crystal clear everything I need to do, there's a comfort to that. Even if I don't really want to do those things, I know what to expect when I walk in there. It just and we've all experienced this as adults. When we walk into strange situations where we don't know the rules and we don't know we feel kind of weird with it. So our classroom should never be that way. They should always know what's going to be going there. It's a comfortable place to be.
All right, guys. That's our episode for today, and we'll see you guys next time. In the meantime, you guys ready? Go forth and do good things. Ah!